Mary Ross Gilbert, Senior Equity Research Analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence, joining us right now. Mary, you saw the numbers there on your screen here. Two stocks going in two different directions. One in Gap is a turnaround story. Nordstrom, I'm not sure what that story is. What jumped out at you most in the results that we just got?
Yeah, well, so actually, with Gap, I just think that we've been seeing a lot of things happening within the quarter with the brands, with Old Navy, a lot of really good marketing out there. Same with the Gap brand. We spoke about it before with the Gap X Jungle campaign featuring Tyla. And then, of course, you've got Nordstrom, but Nordstrom actually reported comp sales better than expected. So they actually had an increase in their full-line stores, and we were sort of thinking that was possible because when we were walking the shops, doing our channel checks, we could see bags around the mall, Nordstrom bags around the mall. And then we had a feeling that with their positioning in the off-price business with Rack, that we would see good sales, and we did. Their comp sales lifted 7.9% above consensus 6% estimate. So that was also encouraging, but I think it's because they have a more premium consumer vis-a-vis the other off-price where those consumers are a little more strapped by inflation. So I think that's sort of separating on Nordstrom. I think, and the profit they also beat there too. So, and they're very cryptic in their releases, so we don't know much until we get to the earnings call. But on the Gap side, I think that the execution is coming through in the numbers. Old Navy comps up 3%, Gap up 3%. Banana Republic, which had been negative, actually comped up 1%. Athleta up 5%. So all of the brands, are up. So I think that's very encouraging there.
Talk to us a little bit, if you would, Mary, about the Nordstrom story. You talked about there is a glimmer of hope there in the comp store sales and some of the shopping experience that you see real time. You see a little bit more activity. Yet the numbers were all pretty big misses relative to expectation. The stock price is down. Do you think that this is the turnaround quarter, or are we looking at more changes that need to be implemented across Nordstrom's platform in order to see a turnaround coming for 2025?
Yeah, so I think the big issue with Nordstrom, I think, has been mostly on the full line side and also on the profitability side generally. Their profits, their margins have lagged the sector for quite some time. And part of it could be on the off-price side. It's probably just not as efficient as it could be. But those are some of the things that they're working on. What they're really trying to do is drive a lot of growth there, opening up a lot of new stores. That's the big expansion story. On the full line side, trying to get that core business turned around. So I think they're making a little bit of strides, but I think it's going to take time. And with the Nordstrom family there, we'll have to see. It's just difficult.
So Mary, with the kind of the retail kind of consumer discretionary side of earnings season, more or less winding down right now here, what was the one standout this earnings cycle?
Wow. Well, one standout, you could say, it's Abercrombie, right? Because they just really killed it again with very, very strong double-digit comps against double-digit comps. So really resonating there, but Urban Outfitters Free People, also very strong, and same with Anthropologie, also an Urban Outfitters brand. So I think those two companies in particular really knocked it out of the park in terms of their results. And then I think off-price was sort of as expected, maybe not really hitting big numbers, but doing just fine.
Mary Ross Gilbert over at Bloomberg Intelligence, a closer look at some of the earnings that we've gotten out of retailers here, and maybe that paints, or maybe it's a reflection